The Pod Network Entertainment.
Looking at the Street Profits and their presentation right now, they're basically back where they started before they aligned with Bobby Lashley, before they formed the Pride. And yung initial na alliance nila was built on Lashley supposedly mentoring the Street Profits, turning them professional, dressing them in suits, making them no nonsense. And wala, we're back where we started.
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
Let me talk to him.
Hello, WWE Universe from the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Hey
everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I have to finish the story.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Run.
Bang! The sniper is shooting you down. This is TMDK's Robbie Eagles.
Hey, this is the Cosmic Cactus, Paul London.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov, the Star, the NXT champion, and you're listening to...
And you're listening to...
And you're listening...
And you are listening...
And you're listening
to the Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
To the Wrestling Podcast. Yeah.
Listening to the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Stan C, Emile Nate, and Rowen ASH, a very unlikely lineup to kick off your weekly wrestling diet as we talk about our reactions to the big news that happened over the weekend in the wild and wonderful world of wrestling. When I say very weird lineup, I mean, it's very rare that I get the two of you and me on a podcast. But it's kind of like how the New Day has the speed lineup and the power lineup. It's Woods and Big E in the power lineup, Kofi and Woods in the speed lineup. So ikaw, Emile, as a basketball fan here, what would you call this lineup? Is this the fast lineup, the bench lineup, the 3-point lineup? Because we're going to be shooting takes from miles away.
This is the veteran and the two young guns lineup. So nag-isip ako ng kung anong iteration ba of any team ever that had a star player and two young guns. So, I'm still thinking about it.
All I can think of is a wrestling stable, Legacy. I don't know.
Ayun. Sakto, pwede.
Sino sa inyo si Cody?
I can be Ted. Whatever. Pwede ako makulong.
So ikaw yung magiging scammer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that scammer in you, Rowen. Oh, nag-promise ka ba naman ng start ng year na you were gonna be there for every live stream? Yan, napa-big pressure ka tuloy in public.
Holy, who would have thought na it's good, even if inayos ko yung schedule ko na ganito, it's still gonna be a problem kasi it was really busy. So my apologies for
exactly
all
what a
the false
would say.
False promises, yeah. Pero yeah, the debt has been paid.
Yeah, it's forgiven, Rowan.
Technically, hindi. Absent ka pa rin. But okay, whatever. Moving on. We have some stuff to talk about. Let's start with our weekend reactions regarding Logan Paul emerging as Cody Rhodes' challenger at the King and Queen of the Ring PLE in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. So it's a champion versus champion match. I'm not sure if it was explicitly said na it's title for title. But if you listen to the promo, Cody was saying na Logan Paul's United States Championship is the one title he hasn't won. And if he were to win it, magiging Grand Slam champion na siya. Whereas Logan Paul is saying na, I've only had a handful of matches. Imagine if I beat you and I already become undisputed WWE champion. So without really saying it, from the promo exchange alone on SmackDown, parang ito na yun eh. It's a champion versus champion matchup with both titles on the line. Rowen, as the belt guy, what do you think of this stipulation?
Well, I feel like there's pagka ganitong champion versus champion match, sure, there's gonna be a unification. Pero are they really gonna have someone like Cody get the US title agad.
Teka lang, it's not a unification. That's a
Or not-
different thing pa.
Yeah. Ano
Champion
pala?
versus champion where winner takes all is not equal to a title unification.
Unification,
Remember
okay.
Cena versus Rollins in SummerSlam of 2015.
Yeah. Rather,
Unification.
when it comes to this matches, are we really gonna see or end this match with a guy having two belts? I honestly feel like this will end up in a double DQ or some sort of screwy finish, so that both men will end up having their own belts. Pa rin. I think it's too early for Logan Paul to lose his title. Cody for sure will not lose his title agad. So I think this could have been just like a showdown na champion versus champion na non-title match.
I don't know about that. I don't know
Yeah,
about
you're right on one hand, Rowan. It's too early for Cody to lose his championship. But for Logan Paul, he's been the champion since Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia late last year. So, Emile, ikaw, what do you think?
Yeah, Logan Paul has been champion. Nanalo din siya sa Saudi Arabia. No? So, they really love putting Logan Paul in title matches in the Saudi shows. But yeah, you know what? I can see Cody Rhodes gunning for the US title just to add something to his legacy. Kasi sabi niya nga, that's the only title that he hasn't won yet. So, but yeah, this clearly points towards a Cody Rhodes double title run because Roman had his double title run. So baka gawin din ni Cody yun. So, medyo malabo talaga kasi yung challenge initially because Logan Paul was still the US champion and bigla na lang siyang in-announce as he's gonna be the next challenger for the undisputed title without any much reasoning aside from, yeah, I'm Logan Paul, I'm this and that, and I'm gonna challenge you at King and Queen of the Ring.
I mean, if The Rock could come in and declare himself Roman Reigns' challenger for the title, then what's stopping Logan Paul, diba?
Oh yeah, that's kind of true. That is his gimmick. Logan Paul is could call a shot and
anytime.
And whether or not he's successful in it or not, he is that type of wrestler, and he has that gimmick that he has right now.
Sa totoo lang, medyo mabilis din kasi yung turnaround time. Eh. Like, it's only been 3 weeks or there are only 3 weeks separating Backlash from King and Queen of the Ring. So, yung Cody Rhodes and Logan Paul exchange was literally the first SmackDown, diba? Coming out of that Backlash in Lyon. So, it's a very short build for King and Queen of the Ring. At this point, we already have the 5 matches booked for the show. So, Cody versus Logan, Becky versus Liv, Sammy versus Gable versus Bronson Reed, and the King and Queen of the Ring finals. So, this looks like a high-stakes PLE given all of the gold that's on the line. Pero ikaw, Emile, are you gonna side with Rowan here and say na we'll have a schmazzy finish for Rhodes versus Paul?
No, I can't see a screwy finish, especially in the PLE. That's simply not gonna happen here. It's either Cody wins or Logan wins, and much possible yung scenario na manalo si Cody, and he's gonna be double champ.
All right. So Emile predicts an actual conclusive finish here with somebody taking home both championships, whereas Rowan says we're gonna get a schmazzy finish as a result of the the stipulation. So let's see. We're gonna predict this next week on the live stream. So hang around for that or stick around for that next Thursday at 7 p.m. All right, let's stick with SmackDown and talk about the Street Profits. So si Angelo Dawkins, nag-wrestle siya nung King of the Ring first round against Tama Tonga in place of Bobby Lashley, who was injured. So we found out nung hours before SmackDown that Lashley was going to be taken out, unable to compete. And, looking at the Street Profits and their presentation right now, they're basically back where they started before they aligned with Bobby Lashley, before they formed the Pride. And yung initial na alliance nila was built on Lashley supposedly mentoring the Street Profits, turning them professional, dressing them in suits, making them no nonsense. And we're back where we started. So, Rowan, what do you think the problem was here? Was there even a problem? Kasi you could also argue na maybe the fans just don't want to boo Bobby Lashley or the Street Profits.
Well, I blame the creative for the inconsistency. So this goes all the way back before WrestleMania, where they were having stable wars, and parang yung storylines were like copy pasted. So right here we're having Legado versus LWO, and then we have the Pride versus the Final Testament. Now, parang mas finocus nila yung Legado versus LWO rather than the Pride versus the Final Testament. And not the Final Testament. Well, yeah, yung feud nila ang dalawa, the Pride and the Final Testament, it felt like a filler. And when they ended the feud at WrestleMania, parang wala lang. It benefited nobody. So, I don't blame the fans if bumalik sa pagka Street Profits ang Street Profits. I think it's just the creative. Like we could have had the second Hurt Business, pero wala. We lost. We got them lost in the shuffle.
For me, the only way na Street Profits heel run would work if humiwalay sila kay Bobby Lashley. Kasi at this point, people have so much respect for Bobby Lashley na no matter what. Diba napansin natin, like Bobby Lashley, he experimented with being a heel again last year, but the fans still cheered him. And so this is a level of respect for him already na no matter what he does, he's going to be cheered by the fans. So because of that association, the fans feel like they should also cheer the Street Profits. And with the way they wrestle kasi, they wrestle babyface. Yung style nila is very much of a babyface tag team. You got this exciting high flyer in Montez Ford, and you got Angelo Dawkins who wrestles with so much energy. And you can't help but to root for them every single time. But again, the problem always goes back to they're back to where they are last year, where it feels like they're directionless. So I think a split here is needed. You know, if they're really investing the Street Profits into something new, they need to separate him from Bobby.
Eto, do you think the Street Profits even needed something new to begin with? Kasi their gimmick before aligning with Lashley has basically been their gimmick since NXT. And then, I mean, it works. Diba? People still pop for them. They're incredibly popular. But do you guys think, as viewers, as fans, yeah, they have to mix it up?
Honestly, sige, Rowen.
A heel turn is necessary. Like they really have to have this character development. Feeling ko kaya naman nila maging maangas eh. Like they can stop kissing babies, and they could be maangas while wrestling na parang the way they wrestle right now. So I guess yun na nga, they just need a character development.
Ako naman with the Street Profits kasi they're placing on the card is they are a good utility player in the tag team division. And what I mean by that is hindi man sila nananalo all of the time, but whenever the program needs an exciting match for a tag team match, you can always put in the Street Profits. And that's a good place to be if you're in the main roster. Yes, like maybe creatively you don't have anything in there, but you're always on you're always on TV, you're always there, you're always on the PLEs delivering exciting match every single month. So they are in that sweet spot. And for me, may kasabihan nga tayo, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right now they're in a position na yes, maybe they are quite 50-50 pagdating sa booking, but we still see them every week on TV. And they're still delivering exciting matches on TV or on PLEs every single month. So maybe don't fix it, I guess. Don't change anything. Kasi it works.
Mm-hmm. Interesting kung anong kalalabasan nito with the Pride. If, they're really just going to be these happy baby faces who just happen to be together. Diba? They're not even wearing the suits anymore. Sina Tez and Docs. It's really just Lashley now. And then, B-Fab is, wala, B-Fab. Yeah. Let's see kung anong kalalabasan nito. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll cross over to some AEW news concerning Anxious Adam, or Angry Adam, as Nigel McGuinness likes to call Adam Copeland. as well as Chuck Taylor of the Best Friends. But first, a quick word from our other podcasts right here on the Pod Network.
Hey, it's Nikki Porter, and I'd like to invite you to catch the episodes of Nuggets of Nikki, a podcast where I share bite-sized insights as a relationship coach. Because, in case you haven't noticed, healthy relationships these days seem very hard to come by. Everyone seems to be dealing with their own ish, right? They don't want to commit when they deep down want a relationship. They want to connect with their partner, but they ignore them instead. They know that something's bothering them, but they don't tell their partner, so they resent them over time. You know, the usual stuff. So how do we navigate through all of that, especially if you want a relationship that lasts? Well, as cliche as it sounds, it really, honest to God, begins with you. Through each episode, we'll work through all the different variables at play that might be keeping you from becoming an empathic partner by first figuring out how you can be a worthy partner for yourself. If this sounds like your type of podcast, be sure to give Nuggets of Nikki a follow. Then let's get to it.
Okay, tawid naman tayo sa AEW where we are seeing Adam Copeland going through quite a weird spell as he prepares to take on Malachi Black in a barbed wire steel cage match for the TNT Championship at this year's Double or Nothing. So, if you guys watched yung Collision over the weekend, you'll know that Adam Copeland and Kyle O'Reilly had a banger of a main event, but Cope was displaying very weird and heelish behavior after successfully defending against Kyle O'Reilly. So alam natin na weeks ago, minissed siya ni Malachi Black. And so far, everybody who's been misted by the House of Black always goes through a turn to the dark side. Diba? From Julia Hart to Sky Blue. Could Adam Copeland be next? What do you guys think?
Well, I think there's a possibility, but I also think it's a swerve. Kasi, he's clearly challenged. He's going after Malachi Black for not like he's going after Malachi Black because may malaking atasan ng House of Black sa kanya. Even though he's a champion, he's the one making the challenge. So I feel like this is one of those I need to overcome my demons in order to beat you and be finally free of the House of Black. So I feel like serve lang to, but I really don't want Adam to have that spooky gimmick again after his iteration of the Judgment Day kind of failed. I just want
Judgment Day of Reckoning.
So after we have seen Adam in that gimmick for that didn't really work, I just want him to stick to being that grizzled old veteran who's delivering bagger matches each and every week.
Ako naman, I have no problem with Edge or Cope joining House of Black. Like, okay, sure, he's acting heelish, but it seems to be intentional. Na they're heading to this way. Na the end game would be Cope joining the stable, the House of Black, and I think it's just because he has had histories with joining stables like the Brood and like Emile mentioned, the Judgment Day. So I think it's a let's wait and see moment.
I mean, with Cope, he's been part of other stables, diba? He's been part of Team ECK, diba? With Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
He also did La Familia with sina Chavo and Vicky and Bam Neely. So it's not like every stable Cope joins or forms supernatural yung nature nila. So do you want him to join the House of Black? Do you want him to turn heel? Because I actually like Cope just being the grizzled old vet, having the dream matches he never could nung nasa WWE siya on a weekly basis. I mean, sure, he's working as hard as the New York Knicks are for Tom Thibodeau, but I'm not one to complain.
Yeah, diba sinabi ko kanina, like I would rather have him just be the grizzled old vet who's having bagger matches each and every week kasi di na natin alam eh. Like Cope hasn't really said anything about when is he gonna hang it up. Pero as long as he can, he should just like go out there and have great matches because that is something na like I heard in an interview na something he wasn't able to really maximize doing in his final run in WWE. So, TK should just let him cook.
Ako, sige, ganito na. I partially, yeah. You know, it's just part of me that wants Edge to like have another stable. Pero like, yeah, I do enjoy yung current run niya, but I still stick to what I said kanina.
All right. Last bit of news from the AEW side of things is kind of sad. It's about Chuck Taylor of the Best Friends, whose in-ring career is likely over after an ankle injury. So, kinonfirm to ng Fightful Select. Basically, yung ankle injury daw niya hindi nag-improve. And he knew that his ankle was pretty banged up when he had that parking lot brawl with Trent nung Rampage a few weeks ago. Pero he insisted on having it kasi it could be his last match na. So may bali-balita rin na Chuck Taylor has been working in AEW as a coach and a producer for months. So, nung una storyline ending pa lang to for the Chuck Taylor character. Pero nga, mukhang wala na. Tapos yung career niya. Excalibur also said on the broadcast na yung fracture ni Chuck Taylor resulted in necrosis of the bone in fragments under the cartilage, meaning it's death of the bone, basically. Wow. And it is a career-ending injury, and sinabi rin nila na even with surgery, mukhang hindi na rin makaka-wrestle ulit itong si Chuck Taylor. And that this type of injury is similar to what ended the career of superstar Billy Graham. So it's kind of sad because Chuck Taylor's only 38, and he's one of those guys na parang wala namang binabalitang masama about him na, you know, seems to be a good guy, seems to be a good dude. You know, wasn't really someone who you would expect to be like a main event top player, pero yung mga ginagawa nila as the Best Friends, I actually enjoy that stuff. You know, I've been sort of following Chuck Taylor since his New Japan days, diba? I first heard of his name through yung song ni nung Roppongi Vice, New Best Friends. Shout out to Chucky T, diba? So it's really just sad whenever I hear of a story of a wrestler's career being cut short, not by choice, but because of a very bad injury that, you know, worse, could negatively affect their quality of life down the road.
Yeah, indeed. It was an unfortunate news. And yeah, just like you, Stan, like I hate it when we hear news na ganito, like wrestlers will retire, but not by their choice, but it's because of the doctor's decision. It's because of the injury. It's also unfortunate na the storyline of the Best Friends splitting up is sort of ongoing pa rin, diba? So, last a few weeks ago, it sort of ended, pero I think there should have been like a better ending. Sure, they can make up with it, like with Orange finishing the story. Pero like, mas maganda pa rin siguro if like both of the founders of the stable ng Best Friends would go head to head and then finish the story with Chuck Taylor standing tall.
Well,
but yeah,
you just get the parking lot brawl. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. That was it.
Yeah, I agree. That's about it. Pero yun na nga. On the flip side, okay rin naman because Chuck Taylor Chuck Taylor still has a job na pwede siyang maging producer sa AEW na like his career isn't completely done. Makakapag-contribute pa rin naman siya, though in a non-wrestling capacity.
It's unfortunate kasi I'm surprised to learn that he's only 38 kasi it feels like he has been in the indies for such a long time. I mean, kasabay niya pa ata sila Christopher Daniels, sila yung mga the Young Bucks. So I've been a fan of him since the first time I discovered him. Yung sumisigaw siya sa mga bata sa audience. One of the funniest wrestlers in the last 20 years. And inisip ko is sobrang sayang na the Best Friends didn't had an AEW World Tag Team run. Kasi they were one of the OG tag teams in AEW. So sobrang sayang lang. But I think Trent will win a championship naman down the road. He's still young, he's still active. He's still one of the best in AEW. But with Chuck, it's a good thing. He knows a lot about the business. And he has a second career as a producer or coach down there. He's close naman with the Bucks, so no matter what happens, I think he's taken care of. He will always have a job in AEW. But in terms of his in-ring career, a great in-ring career for Chuck Taylor. He did win. He had that moment. His best moment, I think, of his career was winning the PWG World Championship against Zack Sabre Jr., which was that was a great moment. I saw a clip of that. during the weekend when people are giving their tributes and their great words about Chuck Taylor. So it's unfortunate, but I'm also glad na he still has another job na he could sink his teeth into and really excel.
Yeah. On the note of yung mga OG AEW tag teams, parang yung Young Bucks and Private Party na lang ata yung nandyan pa eh, diba? So everyone else
Lucha
has
Bros.
either...
Yeah, Lucha Bros.
OG ba sila? Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, so that's it, right? The Dark Order isn't really a thing anymore. FTR's not OG. DCC's not OG.
I'm still trying to think of a team pero parang wala na eh. Yun na
wala nang SCU, wala na yun eh.
Yun eh.
Yeah, that was it.
Yung Strong Hearts na wala na lang bigla din eh. Like during the pandemic.
Yeah, so
yes.
it's yun na lang, yung dalawa na lang talaga.
Damn, that's kind of sad, but that's what happens when you work in wrestling. All right, that's gonna do it for our weekend reactions. As always, you know where to find us if you want to add to the conversation. It is at Wrestling2XPod on TikTok and on Twitter. Everywhere else, it is at Wrestling Podcast. Individually, it is at EML_Meister, at Rowen, Monday Night Rowen, at Chino Supersized, at Rowiswar, at _Stan C. We're gonna catch you on Thursday for our weekly live stream at 7 p.m. sa ating Facebook page and YouTube channel. But we also have our picks of the week. If you just refresh your feeds, it should be up right now on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you very much to Babyface producer Jasper for putting these episodes together and all of the work that the Pod Network does for us behind the scenes. And thank you for continuing to make the Wrestling Podcast part of your weekly wrestling diet. For Emile Nate and Rowen ASH, as well as our co-hosts who can't be here, Ro Moran and Gino Liao, my name is Stan C, saying this has been another episode of the Wrestling Podcast. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay hydrated or dry, whichever you prefer this time of the year, and don't be a dick. Wrestling Podcast. Out later, Outcasts.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.